This is the first year of the president's second term. We're also seeing a major reshuffle in the NPC and CPPCC member. Starting this year, we're seeing a lot of new faces. What do you think this means from your observations?
You know, you just see that China is constantly adapting to new circumstances, and opening up, because now with the social media.
Okay. I'm sorry to interrupt. We're hearing music from the Great Hall of the People. You're watching the live picture of the opening ceremony of the CPPCC session. The first session of the 13th National Committee of the CPPCC session will start anytime from now. You just saw the live picture of President Xi Jinping making his entrance there. Now, the CPPCC meeting marks the beginning of the China's annual political season. And at today's opening session, chairman of the National Committee, Yu Zhengsheng, will deliver a work report on the committee's achievement last year. And the vice chairman of CPPCC National Committee, Wang Gang, will report on last year's proposals. So that's on the schedule this afternoon. And over the next 2 weeks, political consultants will voice their ideas and submit proposals on significant issues concerning China's future. Now, 2018 is a vital year for China. This year, both the 13th National Committee of the CPPCC and the 13th NPC will hold their first sessions. This is also the first time political consultants and deputies have gathered since the 19th CPC National Congress last year. Now, they are set to voice their ideas and discuss how to follow through on the decisions made at the CPC National Congress. And also, 2018 marks the 40th anniversary of the beginning of China's reform and opening up. Many see this year's two sessions as a chance to deepen policies to better adapt to a new era. We're just waiting to see the opening announcement of this opening ceremony. And China's political advisors are, of course, gathering in Beijing for this key annual meeting. This year, over 2,000 members of the committee will have their first session on Saturday. This CPPCC meeting will close on March 15th. It will have 3 major press conferences. Let's now listen in.
The first session of the 13th Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference National Committee has 2,158 registered members, with 2,143 in attendance. The quorum is met. Today, we have invited General Secretary of the CPC, the President of China, and the Chairman of the Central Military Commission, President Xi Jinping, to our meeting. Also joining us today include the leaders of the CPPCC Central Committee, National People's Congress Standing Committee, officials from the State Council, ambassadors from the diplomatic missions in China, journalists and overseas Chinese. A warm welcome to you all. Now I declare that the first session of the 13th Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference National Committee opens. Please all rise for the national anthem. Please be seated. Today's opening session has 2 items on the agenda. Now we will begin the consideration of the first item. We will give the floor to Comrade Yu Zhengsheng to deliver a report on the work of the Standing Committee of the 12th CPPCC National Committee. Dear CPPCC members, on behalf of the Standing Committee of the 12th Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference National Committee, I now present to you the report on our work in the past 5 years, and also make the suggestions for the coming years for your deliberation. 1. Review of the work in the past 5 years. The 5 years since the 18th CPC National Congress represent a very extraordinary period of time in China's development. The CPPCC and the leaders with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core have rallied people of all ethnic groups in a journey of realizing our great dreams and causes. We have promoted integrated and comprehensive development of our country and the overall arrangements of the country. Historical achievements have been made in promoting the party and also the development of the country. And also, we have witnessed historic transformations, ushering a new era for socialism with Chinese characteristics. Over the past 5 years, the CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core has strengthened the leadership over the CPPCC. In a series of important speeches and addresses, Comrade Xi Jinping mentioned a series of new assessments, requirements, and philosophies addressing the theoretical and practical issues regarding the CPPCC. The CPC Central Committee has established socialist consultative democracy, united patriotic frontline, people's political consultative democracy, and consultative supervision. And important documents were issued. The Central Political Bureau and the Standing Committee have listened to the reports of the CPPCC and improved the leadership arrangements of the CPPCC members. The CPPCC members and the Standing Committee members have earnestly observed the spirits of the 18th and 19th CPC National Congress and comprehensively implemented the Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era. Based on unity and democracy, we have served the larger picture and worked to address the central problems. Based on socialism with Chinese characteristics, as the core, we have improved the consultative arrangements of our organization, strengthened democracy, and enhanced unity and cohesion between different members. We have improved our performance of the obligations and functions, promoting the continuity, development, and innovation of the CPPCC. Unity, democracy, pragmatism, and development has been brought to a new level. This demonstrates the advantages and features and uniqueness of socialism with Chinese characteristics. CPPCC arrangements have played an indispensable role in promoting the development of the party and the country. First, sticking to the correct political orientation in safeguarding the authority and leadership of the CPC with Comrade Xi Jinping as the core. We strengthened our political ideology and improved unity in improving our arrangements. We have observed the spirits of the 18th CPC National Congress and organized a series of studies over the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and the 6th plenums of the CPC Central Committee. Our understanding of the reform and opening up, rule of law, and the calls to build a moderately prosperous society in all respects and strengthening party discipline have been enhanced. We have also planned and organized thematic studies of the important addresses delivered by General Secretary Xi Jinping. We've also organized symposiums and discussions of the theories and the practices of our country. We have studied the important addresses of General Secretary Xi Jinping at the 65th anniversary of the establishment of the CPPCC. A series of other studies and symposiums were organized to foster a very good learning environment. Lectures, reports have been organized to study the important addresses of General Secretary Xi Jinping at the 95th anniversary of the founding of the CPC, the addresses at the 70th anniversary of the victory of the Chinese People's War against Japanese aggression, and also the addresses at the 80th anniversary of the victory of the Long March of the Red Army, 150th anniversary of the birth of the Song Yat-sen, and also the 90th anniversary of the founding of the People's Liberation Army and the 20th anniversary of the return of Hong Kong SAR to the motherland. This marks a very important journey from poverty to strength and prosperity for the Chinese nation. Our understanding of the historical journey has been strengthened, and our confidence in our roadmap, our theory, our institutions and culture has been strengthened. Political awareness and awareness of the larger picture, the core principles, and the unity of the party has been strengthened based on the strong leadership of General Secretary Xi Jinping as the core of the leadership. In 2017, we made thorough preparations for the 19th CPC National Congress, and we also studied the important messages and spirits of the Congress. We honored our obligations and functions across the board, strengthened our political leadership, and sent positive voices to the society to pour wisdom and strengthen unity of the society. This has contributed to the overall stability of the society and economic development, and has fostered a very enabling environment for the victory of the 19th National Congress. Following the 19th CPC National Congress, a nationwide drive to study the spirits and messages has been launched to better promote the implementation of the new concepts and ideas. We have organized thematic studies and seminars over the decisions of the Congress and highlighted the leadership of the CPC over the CPPCC and continued to honor our functions and commitments to the missions entrusted upon us in a new era. We called upon CPPCC organizations at various levels to rally around President Xi Jinping to implement the Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for the new era, and poured wisdom and ideas in promoting and achieving the objectives laid out in the CPC National Congress last year. Second, rallying around the central missions of the party and the country to promote integrated and comprehensive development strategies and provide our consultation and suggestions. We observed a stable and progressive tone in our work and promoted stable growth, reform, restructuring of the economy, and improvement of the well-being and diffusion of various risks. And important surveys and investigations have been conducted based on these themes. Providing suggestions on the decisions and implementation of the 13th Five-Year Plan has always been the central part of our work, and we have conducted 56 consultations over 3 months. And the results of our discussions and consultations were compiled into thematic reports to inform decision-making. We have earnestly followed the new concepts of development and selected important projects to promote and implement the 13th Five-Year Plan of the social and economic development, to promote the construction of a well-off society in all respects. We have also implemented supply-side structural reform and conducted 8 investigations in 13 provinces and regions. We have also conducted and organized bi-weekly consultations and discussions on specific themes. And topics covered include economic restructuring and fiscal reform, revitalization of the real economy, innovation-driven development, fostering of the new growth drivers, military-civilian integration, and branding of our products and enterprises. Given the new circumstances in our economic development, we have organized quarterly macroeconomic briefings and analysis based on the concept of preserving the environment. We've highlighted and underscored environmental problems in our consultations. For instance, we have discussed the establishment of functional areas, pollution control, preservation and remediation of forests and wetlands, ecological compensation, irrigation for smallholding farmlands, and the pilots of national park arrangements and overpackaging, turning garbage into resources, etc. And this has contributed to the development of a beautiful China. Regarding comprehensively deepening reform and the rule of law, we have also provided our suggestions and ideas. We have followed a reform-driven approach and improved our services. We've conducted over 185 investigations and surveys and submitted 74 thematic reports. We've identified economic and institutional problems and made sure that the market can play a decisive role in allocating resources. We've also provided suggestions on how to balance the role of the market in government and explored the effective means of unleashing the economic arrangements. We've deepened the reform of the approval system and revamped our rural collective property rights arrangements. Based on deregulation and the simplification of government approval, we've also provided our suggestions to diffuse financial risks and improve original innovation. We've continued to provide suggestions on how to develop hybrid economy and the integrated development of Beijing, Tianjin, and Hebei province. Regarding industrial upgrading of the Northeast China provinces, 3 vice chairmen have led 16 projects into 20 cities and regions, into 87 enterprises. Thematic reports and lectures were held to provide consultations and suggestions. Regarding rule of law, we have organized law-based government discussions and judicial reform seminars. We've identified key problems in our legal systems and discussed the draft amendments to the charity law, safe production law, the commercialization of scientific and technological findings, and delivery regulations. Regarding the strengthening of party discipline, we continue to put clean governance as a very important item on our agenda. We hosted 2 standing committee sessions to study the important message of the central regulations and requirements, improved supervisory systems, and provided suggestions on how to build a clean political environment. And we've provided suggestions on important issues regarding the strengthening of party governance. Third, implementing a people-centric development concept to improve the well-being of our people. We are always committed to serving our people. We've identified the problems concerning the immediate interests of our people and organized over 171 investigation surveys and also consultation activities. Every year, we organize CPPCC members in activities related to the Teachers' Day or the cultural and scientific undertakings at the grassroots level. And we also provided suggestions on improving preschool education, compulsory education, secondary education, higher education, vocational education, special education, and also the development of rural teaching staff. Issues also included financial assistance to those impoverished students. We've also laid important emphasis on the development of a healthy China and deepened our medical system reform. We provided integrated medical treatment, insurance, and pharmaceuticals, and improved health screening, prevention of diseases for young people, occupational diseases, and nationwide fitness campaigns. We promoted the reform of the public hospitals, the operation of private hospitals, and the improvement of generic drugs management and improvement of doctor-patient relationships. Attention is also given to meeting the growing demands of the people for cultural offerings and products. Based on socialist core values and improving the cultural undertakings in China, we try to tell a better story about China's development and promote the cultural development of socialist China. We've also provided suggestions on the preservation of important cultural heritage and cleaning up the cyberspace. Regarding other well-being related problems such as food safety, accessible environment, real estate regulation, capacity reduction, employment of college graduates and discharged military personnel, medical issues, we've provided important suggestions to the decision makers. We've also paid attention to migrant workers, disabled people, left behind children, and other segments of the society. Fourth, promoting political consultative democracy to build new organizations in our CPPCC arrangements. We've earnestly followed the important reform measures of the CPPCC arrangements. We've conducted different assessments and evaluation of the implementation of CPPCC opinions and measures. Through investigations and surveys, we've identified problems and shored up our weak links. We've organized plenary sessions, thematic discussions and exchanges of views, bi-weekly discussions, targeted consultations, and review of relevant proposals. And these are regular activities we've been doing over the years. We've also established annual consultation programs and strengthened the intensity of our consultation activities, increasing from 1 every year to 2 consultations every year. we've established the bi-weekly consultation arrangement to optimize the structures and strengthen communication between CPPCC members. We've invited the CPPCC members, party members, and non-party personnel into our discussions to address those problems that concerns the immediate interests of our society and people. Altogether, we've hosted 76 consultations, which have become a very important signature event of the CPPCC. Based on equality and consultation, we provided interactive discussions and conducted thematic exchanges of views, the results of which have been submitted to the decision makers. The practice of political consultation has unleashed the initiative of the CPPCC members. Altogether, 1,635 CPPC members have conducted surveys and investigations, covering 285,000 activities and events. Fifth, strengthening democratic supervision to promote decision-making and implementation of key national strategies and proposals. We've strengthened the diplomatic supervision of the CPPCC based on the unique advantages of our arrangements to supervise the implementation of the national strategies and the reform measures. Through investigations and surveys, we've identified problems, provided criticism over those insufficient implementation problems, and included key problems and topics into our annual consultation plans. We've organized large-scale conferences, investigations, surveys, and solicitation of public opinions into our process. Topics have increased over the years in our consultation from 12 items in 2015, which is 11%, to 20 items in 2017, which is 28% of the total. We've also looked at the implementation of the VAT reform, the two-child policy implementation, and other problems. Targeted poverty alleviation is also a very important item on the agenda. We've covered 17 provinces and cities in conducting poverty alleviation. We encouraged and urged CPPCC members to conduct poverty alleviation on site and contribute to our elimination of poverty across the country. In 2016 and 17, we organized thematic consultations and discussions over targeted poverty alleviation. In 2017, we've hosted a meeting on how to address the problems and make proposals on conducting targeted poverty alleviation, bringing together 6 vice chairmen and 101 CPPCC members who have visited rural areas and households to study the true circumstances of the people. Questionnaires were distributed, and in 2024 impoverished counties and villages, we've conducted surveys and investigations to identify problems and to provide solutions. At the meeting, we've comprehensively analyzed the problems and provided our suggestions. Follow-up meetings were organized to promote implementation. The innovation is also a key item in promoting supervision. For instance, we've conducted discussions and supervision on the implementation of the poverty alleviation and pollution control in Tengri Desert region. 6. Promoting the unleashing of the role of the United Front. We've earnestly observed and studied the messages and spirits of the Second Central Work Conference on Xinjiang, on Tibet and religious affairs. We've promoted the unity and cohesion of party personnel and non-party personnel. Through joint investigations and surveys, we have created and fostered an enabling environment for different personnel to play a more important role in the political consultation process. We've invited other professionals and personnel into our discussion to deliberate our economic and social problems. We've also contributed to establishing a pro-business and clean arrangement for promoting our enterprises and economic development. We've participated in the 50th anniversary of the establishment of Tibet Autonomous Region, the 60th anniversary of Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region, and the 70th anniversary of Inner Mongolia Autonomous Region. We've also covered topics like the management of floating population, the optimization of industries in ethnic minority regions, and the integrated development of urbanization and prevention of pests and diseases in western regions of the country. Important attention is also given to religious affairs, and we invited religious representatives to conduct surveys and investigations on the revision of the religious affairs regulations. We continue to host discussions with religious representatives and ethnic minority representatives to listen to their voices and to fight against terrorism and extremism and separatist activities. We continue to stick to one country, two systems, Hong Kong people governing Hong Kong, Macau people governing Macau, and high degree of autonomy in these regions. We supported the role of the CPPC members in promoting development of Hong Kong SAR. We also provided suggestions on the revision and interpretation of the Article 104 of the Hong Kong SAR Basic Law, participated in the 20th anniversary of the return of Hong Kong SAR to China, and promoted the education and unity of young people on the mainland and in Hong Kong SAR and Macau SAR. We've also promoted the peaceful development of cross-strait relations. Based on one country principle and 92 consensus, we've discussed the problems regarding employment of students in Taiwan and opposed the Taiwan independence. We invited overseas Chinese nationals to participate in CPPCC meetings. We've also hosted the 150th anniversary of the birth of Mr. Sun Yat-sen, and to encourage all Chinese people to participate in the rejuvenation of the Chinese nation. Seventh, promoting friendly international exchanges and fostering a favorable external environment. We've served the diplomacy of the country and promoted high-level exchanges between China and other countries. We've served the One Belt and One Road initiative and strengthened our cooperation with foreign political organizations, associations, think tanks, and media organizations. We've communicated Chinese achievements and stories and the CPPCC arrangements and CPC multi-party cooperation to the outside world. We've also told a story of how to build a community of shared interests of mankind. Regarding Taiwan, Tibet, and Uyghur, Xinjiang-related problems and issues, we've stayed committed to the core interests of the country. Leveraging China-Europe Roundtable Conference, we've strengthened our international exchanges and cooperation with relevant international organizations. We've hosted regular meetings to analyze international landscape and situations, and conducted surveys and investigations on how to strengthen our aid to African countries. Altogether, 114 surveys and missions were sent to international organizations, and we've received 66 visits from other countries. We've established relations with 149 countries, covering 292 institutions and 15 international regional organizations. Eighth, strengthening our own development to better unleash and honor our commitments and functions. We've stayed committed to the leadership of the party and listened to the opinions of people from various walks of life to improve our work. We've proposed the amendments to the Charter of the CPPCC. We formulated the rules of procedure regarding the CPPCC members, the rules of procedure for biweekly consultations, and other 20 rules and procedures regarding the CPPCC guidelines. We've also promoted the development of other basic work and institutions regarding the CPPCC arrangements. Driven by a reform-minded spirit, we've continued to improve our investigations and consultations based on on-site investigations, parallel investigations to identify problems and analyze root causes to provide informed suggestions. We've improved the qualities of our proposals, which numbered 290,000 in the past years, among which 240,000 were accepted, accounting for 99% of the total. We've improved our selection mechanism for the CPPCC members and strengthened the communication of experience sharing between CPPCC members. Solicitation of public opinions was also improved, including visitation of our people to the officials, and also the compilation of relevant documents and publications, including publications regarding the 70th anniversary of the victory of the Chinese People's War against Japanese aggression. We've also improved public opinion guidance and improved communication of our achievements.
And we have prioritized the political building of the party. And we have improved the leadership structure of the CPC of the CPPCC and set up sub-branches in the 9 special committees and strengthened the party organizations of the CPPCC over authority party branches and sub-branches. And in terms of institutional mechanisms, we have ensured the implementation of the centralized leadership of the Central Committee of the CPC. We have prioritized the building of the team of the CPPCC members and have hosted 32 workshops and presentations for new CPPCC members, bringing around 10,000 participants. We have formulated concrete measures on the implementation of the spirit of the 8 regulations and strengthened our discipline. According to our charter, we invalidated the memberships of altogether 38 CPPCC members, including Lin Jihua, Su Rong, and Sun Huaishan. And we have created a favorable political ecology. We hosted work experience sharing sessions at local levels to ensure the deployment of the policies of the Central Committee of the CPC and implemented the requirements for the CPPCC. Dear members, the achievements of the past 5 years are the result of the support as well as the leadership of the Central Committee of the CPC. And we also received enthusiastic support from the party, the government, and people from all walks of life. I would like to thank all of you. While we are summarizing our achievements, we should also note that compared with the requirements of the new era and new tasks, as well as compared with the expectations of our people, our work still has room for improvement. Some of our investigations and surveys are still very much on the surface and are not very profound, in-depth. And the way in which we conduct consultative supervision still needs to be explored and improved. We need to explore the ways in which we facilitate and promote cohesion and friendship between members. There are still weaknesses in terms of institutional building, and not enough guidance has been issued to the CPPCC work at local levels, and all these areas need to be improved. Second, major takeaways from the past 5 years. During the past 5 years, the 12th National Committee of the CPPCC has accumulated positive experience and has drawn beneficial lessons. First, we need to stick to the leadership of the CPC. This is the fundamental political principle that the CPPCC has to adhere to. The essential characteristic of socialism with Chinese characteristics is the leadership of the Communist Party, and the biggest advantage of Chinese socialism is the leadership of the CPC. The party leads all areas. At various levels of the CPPCC and various activities, the party is the leader. Adherence by the CPPCC to the leadership of the party is a concrete requirement, which is specifically reflected in adherence to the leadership of the Central Committee of the CPC with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, which is also reflected in the multi-party cooperation and political consultative mechanisms. And it is also reflected in adhering to and employing consultative democracy. Finally, it is reflected in the leadership of the CPPCC of its members to implement the fundamental theories of the party. We need to give full play to the CPPCC party branches, special committees, and form a coherent working mechanism so that the opinions of the party can be converted into decisions of the CPPCC through democratic processes, so that all important work can be conducted under the leadership of the party, and all major arrangements can be implemented after being reviewed by the party committee. Second, we need to stick to the nature of the CPPCC. This is the cornerstone of CPPCC work. CPPCC is a major institution featuring the United Frontline, multi-party cooperation and political consultative conference. It is an important way to achieve people's democracy. It is an important part of China's governance structure, and it is a special arrangement with Chinese characteristics. The CPPCC is not a power authority. It is not a decision-making institution. It is an important platform for party members and people from different ethnic backgrounds to participate in China's governance. Sticking to the nature of the CPPCC has to do with whether we can carry forward Chinese socialism and whether we can implement our work. It is important that we do not forget our mission and stick to Chinese socialism so that the political consultative cause in the new era can be pushed forward. Third, we need to rally around the central mission and serve the big picture. This is the fundamental principle of CPPCC work. The cause of the party and of the state is strategic and comprehensive. Only by serving the big picture can the CPPCC identify its major area of work and manifest its value. The CPPCC needs to identify the central missions of the party and the state and participate in achieving Chinese socialism. Stay close to the production and life of the general public, the circumstances of the economy and society, as well as problems that need to be urgently addressed by the party as well as the state. The CPPCC needs to be people-oriented and serve the interests of the people, and regard better meeting the needs for the general public to have a better life as the point of departure and the objective of its work. The CPPCC also needs to care more about people's livelihoods so that the general public can feel that the CPPCC is close to their lives. Fourth, stick to the two themes of solidarity and democracy. This is the fundamental requirement as well as the hallmark of the CPPCC. Solidarity for the CPPCC is the direction as well as the objective. Democracy is the objective as well as the means. Solidarity is power, and only through democracy can we unleash vitality. We need to hold high the banner of patriotism and socialism. We need to integrate consensus and diversity. While we seek common ground, we should also respect diversity. And while we tolerate diversity, we should also seek common ground in order to locate the common denominator. It is important that we do not forget our new friends and we do not forget our old friends and make new friends. And make friends with sincere people so that we can rally more people around the CPC. Public affairs should be discussed by the public. This is the fundamental principle of people's democracy, and it is also an important principle of consultative democracy in the socialist era. We should give full play to the important role as the channel for consultative democracy. We should stick to consultation as the way to achieve our objectives so as to uphold the spirit of democracy and create a favorable environment so that our CPPCC members are willing and dare to speak up. We advocate heated discussions instead of conflicts, sincere instead of insincere communications, sharp but instead of extreme criticisms so as to expand consensus and facilitate solidarity. Fifth, we need to develop through inheritance and innovate through development. The CPPCC is a great invention that has combined Marxism theories with the specific circumstances of China. And the CPPCC, during the process of establishing the new China, building the new China, exploring paths for reform and achieving the Chinese dream, has persisted in its development. During the past 5 years, building on previous work, the CPPCC has explored a great deal in terms of improving the leadership of the party of the CPPCC and strengthening and advancing consultative supervision. And we have achieved tremendous results. In the face of the new era, the CPPCC needs to be problem-oriented and stay close to the public, increase the frequency of consultations and diversify the forms of consultations, enrich the content of consultations, and improve the effectiveness of consultations. We need to work on how to better discuss problems, equalize communications, activating interactions, and expanding consensus. Sixth, we need to give full play to the role of CPPCC members. This is where the advantage and the vitality of CPPCC work lies. CPPCC is a solemn political organization, and CPPCC membership is an honor and a responsibility. We need to give full play to the role of CPPCC members. We need to protect the members' rights, improve the liaison mechanisms for CPPCC members, and give full play to the special committee and other authorities. Liaisons need to be frequented, need to be increased in terms of its frequency, so that every member can feel a sense of belonging and a willingness to communicate with other members. It is important that we step up the building of the CPPCC membership in a comprehensive manner and reach consensus in terms of the directions and objectives that we are striving towards, so that all our recommendations, deliberations, and supervision can be targeted at the right spots. We reject nonchalance and negligence, restlessness, and extreme advocates that are deviating from the specific circumstances of our country. We reject all behaviors that are corrupt and that abuse power and influence to seek personal gain. Third, recommendations for future work. The 19th CPC National Congress has painted a picture for the building of a moderately prosperous society in all respects and garnering the victory for the new era Chinese socialism, and identified the direction forward. The CPPCC needs to observe the spirit of the 19th needs to observe the spirit of the 19th CPC National Congress and regard the Xi Jinping thought on Chinese socialism for the new era as the general guideline, and consider as the primary task the building of a moderately prosperous society in all respects and garnering the victory for Chinese socialism in the new era. The CPPCC needs to stick to new development philosophies, people-oriented development philosophies, the two themes of solidarity and democracy, earnestly implement functions featuring political consultation, consultative supervision, and participatory politics, so as to make new contributions to building a moderately prosperous society in all respects and building a modern country with socialist characteristics in the new era. First, we need to learn the Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for the new era. We need to conduct training for new CPPCC members so that they can better understand the Xi Jinping new thought and improve the level of their identification in terms of politics, ideology, and emotional attachments, so as to build a unified political groundwork for solidarity. We need to encourage representatives from different parties and people of different ethnic backgrounds who participate in the CPPCC to accept the leadership of the CPC and vehemently safeguard the core leadership of Mr. Xi Jinping as the General Secretary. We need to combine the innovative theories of the party with the historical transformations over the past 5 years of the party and of the state. Second, we need to focus on building a moderately prosperous society in all respects and building a modern country in the socialist era in all respects. We need to identify the new historical missions and the changes of the society's primary conflicts and consider the achievement of the first centennial goal as well as striving towards the second centennial goal as our primary objective, so as to better facilitate development and pour our wisdom and make practical efforts. We should focus our efforts on building a moderately prosperous society in all respects and identify our weaknesses. We should diffuse major risks, target our poverty alleviation efforts, control pollution, deepen our consultation, and strengthen our supervision. This year, we will focus our efforts in holding meetings on poverty alleviation and pollution control in targeted areas, as well as host consultation sessions on diffusing financial risks, developing the real economy, and improving the quality of the supply system in line with the requirements of the new era. We should strengthen and innovate social governance, provide inputs to building a beautiful China, and contribute to better achieving people's requirements for living a better life. Third, we need to give full play to the role of the CPPCC as an important channel for consultative democracy. We need to optimize the consultative democracy mechanisms of the CPPCC so that the topics of the consultation and the forms of consultation can be matched. Visits and surveys and investigations, as well as consultative democracy, can be connected. We should strengthen the consultative supervision of the CPPCC and prioritize the implementation of the decisions of the 19th CPC National Congress and integrate consultation, supervision, participation, and cooperation so as to give a better role to the unique function of the CPPCC in consultative supervision. We should strengthen tracking and supervision so as to better translate the achievements of consultative democracy into policies and concrete work measures. Fourth, we need to pull positive power to achieve the dream of rejuvenating the Chinese nation. Work related to intellectuals outside the CPC and people from new walks of life needs to be improved. We need to facilitate the building of a pro-business relationship and promote the development of non-public ownership structures so that people of various ethnic backgrounds can better communicate and push forward the prosperous development of the country via solidarity. People of all backgrounds should shoulder the responsibility to achieve the Chinese dream together. We should promote friendly foreign exchanges and promote the development of the Belt and Road Initiative and contribute to the development of the humanity. Fifth, we need to improve the building of ourselves. We need to improve our ability to conduct investigations and surveys, our ability to liaise with the general public, our ability to cooperate, and our ability to fulfill our responsibilities. We should go deeper to the grassroots levels and prioritize the role of facts and statistics. We should improve our work in terms of proposals, visits, speeches at major conferences, solicitation of public opinions, publicity in the media, etc. We should stick to the leadership of the party of the CPPCC and improve the building of the special committees. We should investigate the CPPCC work at county levels and strengthen our guidance for local CPPCC organizations, taking the revision of the CPPCC Charter as an opportunity. We should strengthen our publicity. Dear CPPCC members, the Chinese socialism has entered a new era. We are extremely excited about the transformation of the Chinese nation from poverty to prosperity. And we're also very proud in our strive towards the two centennial goals. The CPPCC has an honorable mission and a very heavy responsibility. Let's rally around the leadership of the Central Committee of the CPC with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, and let's be guided by the Marx-Leninism, Mao Zedong thought, Deng Xiaoping theory. 3 represents theory, scientific outlook on development, and the Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics of the new era. And let's unite ourselves together and work together to build a moderately prosperous society in all respects and garner the victory for Chinese socialism in the new era and rejuvenate the great Chinese nation.
All right, that was Yu Zhengsheng, the chairman of the National Committee at the